There are many dentists who are practice owners. There are fewer who took that leap of faith that you have to take to start a practice from scratch as opposed to buying an existing office which is already a well-oiled machine. Smaller is the group still who found early financial success in their startup. A typical startup practice may take anywhere between 1 year, sometimes up to 2 years for the owner to really be able to draw a profit. Even smaller, again, is the group who began this journey before even having a DDS behind their name. That story makes me a bit unique, because that was me. During my second year of dental school, my logo for my practice was already designed, my practice name was selected, my social media pages for the practice were already established, and I had my web domain secured. During my third year of dental school, my comprehensive business plan and marketing plan were completed, and I had a massive spreadsheet of all the potential locations that I was considering. During the fourth year, I really picked things up. At that point, I had actually cornered where my location was likely going to be and where I'd be practicing, and I compiled a list and fully shopped around for my equipment and all my supplies, and I actually applied for the startup loan with the banks and was pre-approved for my startup loan while I was still in dental school as a fourth year student. I also won my class's operative dentistry award along the way, so I was clinically focused as well. At least when it came to the basics, I knew that was going to be really important, because I knew I couldn't, go into this startup practice from scratch and not have my clinical skills down. So, I made that a big emphasis. I'm going to finish dental school and I'm going to know for sure that I can do the basics of dental care very well. And that kind of expressed itself when I won the operative award. Okay, so that was my fourth year, and upon graduating dental school, I settled into a wonderful associate job for about a year's time. My real first job, I was only there for 3 days before I quit, and I've written an article about that, so you can look at that if you want. But that period of time was the gap between graduating and seeing my first patient. I did not open my startup while in dental school. I started the process of my startup while still in dental school, culminated by getting my pre-approval for the startup loan from the banks. So it took, again, about a year from the time I graduated to the time I actually saw my very first patient, which is not unusual for a startup, especially when you need to go through construction, the build-out process. Okay, this process takes time. But it's my belief that if your ultimate goal is to own a practice, own a dental practice, you really want to be a business owner, the earlier you start, the easier the process is. So I graduated from dental school from the University of Michigan in 2016. I opened my practice in 2017. I went through this process with no architect, no big companies behind me, and a contractor that had zero dental experience. I had no financial backing from family letting me borrow money, no dad or uncle or cousin who was already a dentist, and I did all of this without taking a very large practice loan out. I was able to keep the amount I spent on the practice under $90,000. That makes my story a bit unique as well, especially when some dentists might honestly spend more than that just on cabinetry for the office. Okay, when the startup opened, I was profitable from the first month, and the practice was self-sustaining from that point forward. Tapping into my working capital funds never actually even became necessary. So if you're going through this process, there'll be a point where you have to decide how much working capital you want. I did take out some working capital funds, but I did not end up actually having to use it. But I had it there as a cushion just in case I needed it. I slowly transitioned out of my associate job and full-time into my practice. My first full year of being full-time in my office, my practice, my income was in what's estimated as the top 5% of earnings for all dentists. And all of this is while doing just basic dentistry, so no molar endo, no implants, no third molar extractions, no implant restoration, zero orthodontics. None of that stuff was in my skill set as a newly graduated dental student. So I had to come up with a business model where I could really do well just with the basics and find a patient demographic that was a match for that skill, someplace that was just like a regular families, regular town that just needs basic everyday dental care. In my business plan, that was a big part of it. I had to find a place that could match up with the skill set that I had. And it was a skill in itself to find that location and be able to set everything up. And there's a lot of things that go into running and operating the business on a daily basis, but let's not start there. That's not really what this article and video is going to be about. We're going to start at the start, which is dental school. A question that I'm often asked is, how did I prepare myself to confidently, successfully, and with no hesitation accomplish the items that I just outlined prior? And that is going to be really the topic of what this video and article is going to be about. Okay, so let's get into it. So preparation step number 1 is going to be voracious reading. Okay, so I was an insatiable learner during dental school when it came to preparing for the success of my future career. You know, a lot of dental student mindset is just from one test to the next, I've got to graduate. My mindset was not just one test to the next, but am I using this 4-year period in school to really prepare myself to be as successful as I possibly can when I graduate? Okay, you might typically see me in the back of the lecture hall reading a book on business, entrepreneurship, self-help, or marketing. Books have always been there for me when seeking solutions. If you click the link in the article, you will see a list of some of my favorite books that I found most helpful along that journey. Preparation step number 2 is I built a team of interns while I was in dental school. So at a certain point, the amount of information that I was attempting to compile became too much for me to handle on my own. I was attempting to compile comprehensive knowledge to start, own, and operate a dental practice as a dental student. And dental school itself, of course, as you guys know, provided zero education on these topics. So I inevitably assembled a team. I sent out an email blast to the pre-dental club and recruited a team of 3 interns to work under me as a dental student. And this helped massively with my time management. So I would set goals for the week and they would report back. For example, I might say, okay team, this week we need to learn all about accounts receivable and the role in a dental office. I want you to spend the next week researching this topic and then report back to me with your findings. And then the team would spend a week researching the topic, report back to me, and I would curate the information into something structured and useful. And by the end of dental school, I had like this massive binder full of information, and I also had like personally written a 65-page manual that I used as a guide for myself on the business side of dentistry when I was going through the process. And this information largely came from my research with my team of interns that I had recruited and established. Okay, that was preparation step 2. Preparation step number 3 is going to be structured learning opportunities. Okay, so I sought out structured learning opportunities in 2 forms. Okay, I knew this is something that my other peers were likely not doing at that time, and my belief was essentially the more extra things that I do that other people are not doing that are around me, the more likely that I will set myself apart after graduation in terms of success, however we're defining that. I'm sure I define it differently now than I did that. The first thing I was doing was taking dental business CE, real CE, not just free podcasts, which are great too, but I probably, in dental school, I spent several $1,000s on CE, and I paid for it with student loan money and money that I had generated from pre-dental student coaching and from book sales. So I actually wrote a book that was ranked number 1 in its category for 4 straight years on Amazon. It was on medical and dental school admissions. And after going through that process and spending a couple $1,000 on CE, I realized there was still so much I didn't know, in so many ways I didn't feel prepared to be a practice owner. And this was a big motivational factor behind why I decided to create my own CE course, which I legitimately believe is the most comprehensive practice ownership CE course that is available for dentists who are employee dentists or dental students who want to become owners. And that is a shameless plug for my CE course, because my CE course is really good. Okay. The second thing I was doing besides paid CE courses was I was skipping select dental school classes to attend business school classes. So assuming that I knew I was likely to get an A in a dental class regardless, I would skip the class, run over across campus to the business school, and sit in on lectures. I was able to attend wonderful lectures by some of the best business school faculty in the state, and also able to sit in on talks from CEOs and leaders from high-profile companies like Starbucks and Twitter. which was much better than hearing about the Krebs cycle for the 4th time. Okay, preparation step number 4, interviewing dentists. Okay, so Gemba, G-E-M-B-A, is a word in the Japanese vocabulary that is often found in their business texts. The word simply means the real place where the work is done. The premise is that you can do all the research in the world that you want, but to truly understand how something works, you need to immerse yourself in the environment. You need to go to the Gemba. So looking back, I would have actually done this by taking a job as a dental assistant during dental school, which I didn't do, but I honestly believe this is probably one of the most advantageous things that a dental student can do if their end goal is to own and operate a dental office, is find one or a few dentists to work for during dental school and learn from them, and learn from being actually immersed in the environment. While I didn't work as a dental assistant, what I did do was interview dentists, and I would interview and visit and tour their offices. I toured their lab, sterilization center. I would sit behind the front desk and listen to how the receptionist was talking to people. I would pick apart the operatories and mingle with all the staff. And I asked the dentist every question that I could think of according to a guided rubric that I created. And I went through their financial numbers. I saw what worked. I saw what didn't work. I observed the flow clinically and patient flow in the office. And I was taking notes on all of this. And I compiled and condensed all the information into something I could utilize and make sense of later. Again, for this, I did utilize my intern team a lot. So I'd say, team, I want to interview 3 dentists next month. I need you guys to cold call offices all week long and bring me a list of the ones that say yes, so that I can go to these interviews and tour the offices. Okay, that was preparation step number 4. Preparation step number 5 is I knew how to leverage my strengths. Okay, so you need to know what your strengths are, and you need to practice identifying them. There are things that I was good at that I was able to leverage into success. You may not be good at these same things. Okay, there are also probably things that you're good at that I'm terrible at. This isn't limited to innate or trained skills either. It also extends to resources. What resources are your strengths? For example, maybe you have like a well-off parent who can give you seed money. That's a competitive edge that you have. Boom, you don't have to worry about financing. Leverage that strength. Maybe you went to the orthodontic clinic in dental school every spring break or summer break instead of going home, and you got a better grasp for how to handle cases. This could be your competitive advantage, competitive edge that you can leverage. Okay, so think about what your advantages might be. I felt like my advantages were an unyielding work ethic, exceptional bread and butter dentistry, demonstrated by the Operative Award, and the ability to market. Marketing and branding was something that I had always enjoyed researching. And I knew that was going to be important in bringing patients into the office. So I leveraged those skills into opening a startup practice that had and continues to have more new patients each month than I realistically know what to do with, and is under a business model that requires no additional clinical skills than what I learned in dental school and was very good at. So there are things that make you unique, qualities that you have that make you specifically exceptional. Identify those things within you and put them into action. All right, Kaizen, that's my story on this video article here. Let's get a little bit better every day. If you like my content and my videos, please invite other dentists and dental students to join the Practice Biopsy group and journey, and share your journey in the group too. Bye guys.